need
Really?
yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Q was so long, black and white one, so it's been
Oh.
hands.
Can we switch? Dan, some guys here just want to see the clock.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
No, wait, I was just going to sit down. Oh. Hello, I'm Mike.
Hi everyone.
Hi, I'm Maureen.
Hi everyone. If you can, I guess you can hear me. The stage is always a bit weird.
Shut the
But
gate.
we're here
Ready?
today.
Standing room only.
The Q's were right round
So everyone,
Excuse me,
if
I've
you can
got
hear, put your hands up. You
music
can
in
hear
this
me. I was on the stage. Very strange. My name's Justin Pearse. I'm the editor of New Digital Age.
Is it right?
We're huge partners of MadFest. My favourite show of the
Yeah,
year. So
wow.
today, we'll be talking
Yeah.
about attention. And attention dominates every industry headline, every industry trade show. I've done about 50 panels on attention over the last 18 months. That's no exaggeration. But attention's getting more and more serious. And today, I'm joined by two experts who will introduce themselves in a second. And luckily, today we're going to talk about a real-world campaign with real-world business results. And attention's often a bit ephemeral, I think, and people just talk about what does it mean. But today we're going to find out exactly what it does mean and what it delivers. So without further ado, over to my two amazing guests. If you could introduce yourselves, please name where you work, what you do there, and also both please answer my initial question, which is, can you describe why attention is so important in one short sentence? And let's start. Dan.
Sure. Hi everyone, I'm Dan G, Head of Sales for WeTransfer Advertising. I think the reason attention matters for brands is, is really because advertisers need to find better ways to invest their money in stuff that's going to move the needle for their brands, whether it's across attention, consideration, or low down the funnel driving intent and action. And attention is a better metric than we've ever had for joining those dots.
Fantastic, thank you.
Hi, I'm Erfan from Mediahub. We're a media agency within the IPG group. I'm the Chief Digital Officer. And I'd say attention data has allowed us all to see more, like agencies, brands, and we can see more and do more with our own data, which leads to better media quality, but most importantly, much more positive and cleaner ad experiences.
Great, now we're going to kick off, as I say, talking about a real world case study for New Balance with some great results. So let's hear what exactly happened. Who wants to kick off to tell me that?
So the New Balance campaign is their brand strategy was about repositioning themselves, their running strategy from targeting runners to targeting everybody. It obviously increases consumption against a much bigger addressable audience. So everybody in the sense is, if you want to run a marathon or run 1K, then it doesn't really matter, right? And the campaign was called Run Your Way. And we wanted to really focus on going after a sub-segment of inventory that was much more attentive, much cleaner, and there's no better experience than the WeTransfer experience.
Yeah, so I'll just bring up an example of how that campaign manifests on WeTransfer. And on WeTransfer, when people are going there, so right across the industry to transfer files, move stuff from A to B, the rest of the screen is given over to this beautifully clear canvas. And for New Balance, they had existing out-of-home assets that they wanted to amplify and show off in the best way possible. And we worked with the folks at Mediahub to pull together a campaign that was putting New Balance advertising in rotation with some of other premium advertisers on WeTransfer right in the build-up to Global Running Day on the 7th of June. What was really innovative about the way in which we ran this with the folks at Mediahub was that they were most interested in trading off attention. So rather than looking purely at CPMs and impressions, they wanted to know what volume of attention were we going to be able to drive for New Balance, and what sort of metrics could we understand as to how that's moving the needle for them.
So what were some of the results you saw from that campaign?
I mean, firstly, it's really good to start with the results. We should always start with client outcomes, and they were, as you can imagine, extremely positive, more positive than any other part of the media investment.
Yeah, so we worked with a couple of partners to measure the impact. So Mike over there is going to enjoy this. We ran the lamp tag in the background so we can assess the actual attention that was paid to the advertising across the campaign. We saw an incredible 21 seconds per exposure. And when you think about the fact that the MRC standards for viewability are around 2 seconds, and the industry is optimizing to just above 2 seconds, the fact that we're now delivering 21 seconds for a campaign like this is phenomenal. But it's all well and good, just another media metric, but what did that actually do? And so we ran a brand lift study with the folks at Brand Metrics that was looking at sort of people who are exposed to the campaign and what kind of shift did we see. And we saw a 17.5% brand lift from that, with lifts right across the funnel. The most impactful ones obviously being in that consideration space, but all the way down to action as well. So people demonstrating that they, as a result of the campaign, were more intent on buying New Balance sneakers off the back of this running campaign that we ran.
And to give a bit of context on 21 seconds, that sounds good, but how good is it? I think a lot of the eye tracking data that we see from likes of T-Vision, Lumen, TV spots, average, crudely put, get 15 to 18 seconds. Wall gardens, you're doing well if you're even getting above 5 seconds. Standard IB formats, right at the other end of the spectrum, for the desktop, you struggle to get half a second of attention. So now, fractions of attention can be good. We've seen lifts from 1 second, but 21 seconds is the golden egg for sure.
I think it's rare to hear online advertising compared to TV advertising favourites. It's quite amazing results. But look, let's talk a bit about different sorts of attention. So attention is a dominant strand across every conference. It is the next 2 days here. But there's good attention and bad attention. How do the two play out in media planning?
Yeah, so I think what we try to offer within WeTransfer is maybe it's counterintuitive, but we focus on the user experience first. So people come to WeTransfer because it's the fastest, the easiest, the most attractive way to shift stuff from A to B. When you're file sharing, you're in a hurry. That's why people come to WeTransfer. We have to respect that user experience, or we'll eat into our audience and they'll go to something uninspiring like Dropbox. No offense to anyone in Dropbox in the room. But the way in which that sort of actually has a positive impact for advertisers is people feel that they're in a trusting environment, they feel safe when we transfer, they feel that they can get stuff done and we're not going to get in their way and the advertising doesn't get in their way. But it's such a large canvas, just to sort of show that in the static format there, it's such a large canvas you cannot miss the advertising there. So people feel like they can get on with their stuff, but at the same time it's unmissable.
Erfan, we were talking before about what's going on in the media industry, going this shift to quality media, but good attention, bad attention. How do you distinguish between the two of those?
Yeah, I mean we've been mining attention data for the last couple of years. It's quite frightening actually what we're seeing. I think our industry has been using the same legacy metrics for 15 years, right? Measuring on reach, impressions, viewability, view-through rate. None of those metrics have any bearing if actually someone looked at an ad or not, right? Which is a problem. But the real problem is in the system, right? Big tech publishers, they've all been incentivized to deliver reach, viewability. They deliver impressions, they get paid, and I don't blame them, right? That's their business model. That's what keeps them, pumping. But the impact of that is significant, and it has been significant on wastage of media investment over the years, and on people's mental health as well, which has become a real problem. So the differentiation between good attention and bad attention is important for that reason, and that's, as an agency, as brands, that's what we're starting to do now. We're starting to fish in pools of ad exposures that are good attention, and moving away from cluttered environments. I think the impact of walled gardens and publishers trading in that way is that there is a huge amount of clutter of ads and content just on top of each other. And as a result, people are becoming experts at skipping ads, zoning out, multitasking, powering through news feeds. And so they've become very good at doing that, and publishers are making it easy for them. And I think the other problem of bad attention is what's doom scrolling. Gen Z are a generation who've been built on a news feed, and they power through that news feed. And doom scrolling is a tendency to look for negative news, where through big tech algorithms that optimize towards bias, it's going back, and that's a real problem. And the Health Journal has claimed that 44% of Gen Z that suffer from doom scrolling actually have moderate to severe mental health problems. So in a way, ad clutter is compounding that, but also What kind of response do you think advertisers are going to get when they're exposing people when they're doom scrolling and in that mental state? Not much.
Dan, I mean, same question to you. Ad clutter. How are you sort of positioning WeTransfer as the antithesis, I guess, of that?
So when you're advertising on WeTransfer, you're the only ad. You're the only ad there, and actually, sort of within the UK and Europe, you'll have 45 seconds of exposure before anybody else sort of appears on the screen as the next advertiser in the slot. And I think that clutter is something that we also reflect in our design guidelines. So when we're working with folks like New Balance, they'll come to us with a set of assets. And there's a tendency where people have got lots of stuff. They've gone through a big sort of production line where they've got lots and lots of assets that they want to demonstrate that sort of speak to their brand. But our job is also to help them pare that back. When you've got a space that large, you can actually embrace the white space, which then pulls their attention much more to the messages that you really do want to convey, the call to actions that you do want to land with them. And again, it speaks to that piece about sort of respecting the user experience. And when users see ads on WeTransfer, like we invariably, it's a positive reaction. We actually, quite bizarrely, for a media owner, we get fan mail for the ads that people see. Yeah. It doesn't happen every day, but every week, every month, we'll get a few people start coming through and sending us notes saying, really, really loved that ad that I saw on WeTransfer. That looked sick, that looked really good. And I don't think that the purveyors of the IAB standard formats tend to receive that kind of stuff in their inbox.
Look, let's end up, we're starting to run out of time, this is short and sharp, but there's a lot of talk about attention. I guess this audience has heard the stories quite often that there's no agreed framework, there's no common standards, so therefore you can't trade on it. And Erfan, you would say that's totally untrue.
Yeah, you can just do it today, and we're doing that today. You know, the likes of Lumen allows, as an agency, for us to see more, right? We've got data, we ingest it, we can see at our publisher level, format level, we can see all their data and relative attention metrics. And then we speak to publishers and some of the big tech providers around trading on an attention CPM metric. And that's what we've done with WeTransfer, and that's what we do with a bunch of other partners. So you can just do it. You don't need to wait for a standard.
That's a great line in which to end. Just do it. Don't wait for a standard. So amazing people. Jump on them afterwards. These are the most fascinating. I've talked about attention for ages, and I talk to everyone. Also, the WeTransfer stand is just behind you, the big umbrella. Go and see them. So just let me say thank you so much for my amazing panelists. Thank you.
Thank you.